And we have to file the return of income. The time is nearing. So we have to file the return of income. Fortunately, it is an educational institution. Their gross collections are 4.8 crores. By that time, the new provision has come 5 crores. Taking the shelter of that particular section, we have filed 1023C, 6-year return. And later, after repeated requests and repeated compliances to the government, then they said, we are extending the date. And that is also too funny. They have extended date to 25th of November. And they have given the date 1st November to 25th of November of 2022. That also missed our friends. And my problem is, we have gone for re-registration and we got it for 5 years for the same institution. But by the time I have filed the return under 1023C 380, not 380, 6, 1023C 6. That is under a different section. Now I got the re-registration because I got the second bus. They got 5 years. The commissioner, I asked the commissioner of what is the remedy. Right. We too have no answer. By the time, of course, our return is processed and we got our assessment order, that is summary order 1431A. And till today, many institutions failed to catch those buses, 2 buses. Now they are asking, yesterday also commissioner was telling me, there are so many representations from various forums for extension of time. Government may or may not consider. For the time being, assume that the government may not grant any extension. So everything is time bound. We must be very, very careful. And there are other time bound issues in the income tax. We have missed several times. Filing of audit report, not within the due date. Huge amount of taxes raised by the CPC. Not filing Form 10 for accumulation of income. So like this, there are so many time frames given. We must follow each and every one. And earlier, the program given to CPC is once the deadline crossed, tax on the gross. But there is no provision in any sections of the income tax taxing on the gross income. Tax is to be levied only on the net income, not on the gross. But here, the tax is levied on the gross income. Then representations, I have sent a representation to the CBDT also. And hearing all these, or taking all these into consideration, they have brought in a new section. That is section 13, subsection 10, with so many conditions. All revenue expenditure is to be permitted to be deducted. Expenditure incurred and debited to the income and expenditure out of the corpus funds is not considered. Any expenditure debited, amount spent out of accumulated under section 11(2), not permitted. Any expenditure incurred out of borrowed funds, not permitted. Any contribution by one institution to other institution, not permitted. Like this, so many restrictions are given, and that standard deduction of 15% is also not permitted. Set off of income, 15% is permitted without any conditions and restrictions. So taking all these into consideration, then the tax will be levied. But unfortunate thing is, audit report is now announced. That is running into 18 pages. Audit report. There, one of the conditions is we have to compute the income under section 13, subsection 10. We have to give an audit report. So we have to go through all the expenditure debited in the P&L account, and we have to verify whether it is out of accumulated fund, borrowed funds, corpus fund, etc., etc. So finalizing audit report is not at all easy nowadays. So section 1310 comes into the rescue of institutions where they miss the timeline. Now, coming to this income part, what is the income? The incomes are of different types. One is the voluntary contribution. Somebody gives the money without your request, that is voluntary. This voluntary can be again classified into anonymous donation and a normal donation. Anonymous means Guru Peru Leni Chanda. Guru Peru Leni Chanda. Sometimes you see the cart going Sai Baba. And if you give 50 rupees, he will recommend to the God that so and so has given 50 rupees and give all benefits to this family. And we don't reveal our name, Oka Bhaktudu. So these are all anonymous donations. There is a section 150 BBC that takes care about this anonymous donations. Unfortunately, the audit report, we have to fill those columns, voluntary contributions. What are corpus donation? Entire provisions we have to repeat in the audit report. It is already published in the Gazette. How many of you have gone through this audit report? And the notes to the audit report is around 10 pages. Very big audit report. So these donations, voluntary contributions, anonymous donations, corpus donations, project contributions, project donations, and also the borrowed funds. These are the funds of the institution. So voluntary contribution is without any request from your side. If somebody passes, he will give any contribution, that is a voluntary contribution. Now the problem arises whenever I go to the income tax officer for any representation of case, they ask, you are collecting fee from the students. It is not fit into the definition of voluntary contribution. Only voluntary contributions are permitted to be considered for exemption under section 11, because income is defined in section 12. Then how we equate whether it is a voluntary contribution or not? Now the section 12 is amended some years back. Any voluntary contribution is also to be deemed to be the income and generated out of the property held under trust. So voluntary contributions are now added to the property held under income from property held under trust. Normally, what we understand property held under trust, a building, deposits, etc., etc. These are the properties. But you are running a school in a rented premises and collecting fees and running the institution. Where is the property? Where is the income? Supreme Court in a wealth tax case, I don't remember the exact citation, they said any source from income generated itself is the property. Any source where from income generated is also a property. Now the source of income is the school. It is a deemed property. So therefore, it is also to be covered as income from property held under trust. And now these voluntary contributions, we have to maintain now registers, because Rule 17A is recently published. Rule 17A. Earlier, you don't have any provision in the law, either under 44 AE, maintenance of books of account. There, the institutions, trust, nowhere maintenance of books for the trust is prescribed. Now they brought this also into account. Rule 17A, maintenance of books of account. And they have given another 12 pages rule. Two registers we have to maintain, voluntary contribution. We have to write the serial number, name of the person who is giving, and Aadhaar number or PAN number, whichever is available, and his address, everything is to be maintained by the institution. And our obligation is we have to go through whether that particular register is maintained by the institution or not in our audit report. So burden is more and more on chartered accountants now. It is not simple to certify audit report, sign an audit report. Next comes the corpus donation. Corpus donation is the direction must come from the donor. Normal people used to come and ask me, sir, this year we have a surplus of 40 lakhs. Can we pass a resolution and transfer 30 lakhs to the corpus? No, it is not you to decide the corpus. It is the donor has to give a direction that it sees the corpus of the institution. This corpus donations, earlier, once we write in the books of account, that is allowed as exemption. Corpus donations 11(1)(d). And any expenditure out of corpus, because application of income includes either revenue or capital expenditure, both are permitted to be taken into consideration as application of income for the objectives. So the capital expenditure, if any capital expenditure created out of the corpus donation, that can also be considered as application of income. That means for the same amount you are claiming, two sides deductions. One is when you collect the money, corpus donation, that you are claiming as exemption totally. Again, when you spend the money in acquisition of a capital asset, there also you are claiming, or using the corpus donation for meeting the revenue expenditure, also you are claiming second time. So the double deduction part is to be curtailed. Now, last year, that is 22 Finance Act, they brought so many radical changes for the corpus donations. Corpus donation, as it is, once you receive it, is not exempted. It is exempted only when it is deposited in an account specifically maintained as per rules, as per section 11, subsection 5. We cannot club everything into one bank account. You have to maintain a specific bank account to deal with corpus donations. And you get exemption only as and when you deposit into that particular bank account. If you don't deposit into the bank account, the money, what else you have received, you have to raise it for the acquisition of capital asset. Then it is not a corpus donation, normal donation. Then the amount spent, capital expenditure, that you can claim as application of income. There is no corpus at all. To maintain the corpus, you have to show separate bank account wherein you have to deposit all these corpus donations into such bank account. And suppose you have received 1 crore of rupees as corpus donations and you have maintained separate bank account and deposited 1 crore into the bank account. Well, you got the exemption for 1 crore. Next year, you have withdrawn 90 lakhs from the corpus fund and utilized for acquisition of a capital asset. Since it is already claimed as exemption corpus donation as and when it is received, you cannot again claim as expenditure because it is fund used out of the corpus which was already exempted. So the capital expenditure will not be permitted. Now our problem is 1 crore corpus donation by withdrawing 90 lakh rupees from the corpus is synced to only 10 lakhs. So corpus is sinking. So how to rebuild the corpus, for which the section says, if you redeposit out of your current year's income, that portion is permitted to be allowed as application of income in the year where you deposit back into the corpus fund account. Well, they have given permission without any time limit. We are happy. But in the Finance Bill 2023, they brought another restriction. The restriction is within 5 years, you have to recover back the corpus donation. If you cannot recover within 5 years, you are losing the benefit. So 90 lakh rupees is withdrawn. Within 5 years, you have redeposited back only 40 lakhs. The balance 50 lakhs gone. Your corpus will be only at 50 lakhs. That restriction is brought in the Finance Bill 2023. And similarly, borrowing funds, loan funds. Loan funds, whenever you take the loan, that is not to be treated as your income because it is a loan. It is an obligation to us to repay it back. So it is not income. But if the loan funds are utilized for construction of any property, for meeting any revenue expenditure, that expenditure is permitted. Again, there is a circular number 100 that is now outdated. As per rule 100, if the loan is repaid back, that portion also you can claim as application of income. Now here also, if you take in the present 1922 Act, when you take a loan from any financial institution, bank, etc., that is to be shown as only a liability in the balance sheet, and any amount utilized out of the borrowed funds cannot be claimed as application of income. But we have to repay the loan. Then government says, yes, when you repay the loan, you can claim it as application. But another restriction brought in the Finance Bill 2023, there it is again restricted to only 5 years. Highly ridiculous. The loans are short term, long term, mid term, like that, so many loans. If you have taken loan for 15 years, EMI, how can you repay within 5 years? Not possible. I do not know how they have written that particular provision in the statute. Only short-term loans are permitted to be considered. Loans which can be repaid within 5 years. If it is beyond 5 years, you cannot claim as application of income the repayment of loans. Too harsh. And the institutions to maintain books of account for loans, deposits, corpus donations, etc., etc. And we have to report in our audit the loan register whether verified, the corpus donations register whether verified. All these things we have to report. Actually, ఈ ప్రొవిజన్స్ విన్న తర్వాత ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ నీళ్లు తాగాలి, కానీ ఏది అవుతున్నా వాళ్ళు సింపుల్ గా ఏం చెప్తారంటే మీరు ఉన్నారు కదా, లాస్ట్ వర్డ్ దే సేస్ మీరు ఉన్నారు కదా సార్, మాకు ధైర్యం. So these are the loan funds. Another problem is contribution from one's organization to other organization is permitted. One society can contribute to the other society is permitted as application of income. Whether the recipient society spend the money or not is none of our business. But there are so many restrictions brought in. So many restrictions. This contribution has to be given only from the current year's income, not accumulated funds. And this donation you cannot give to other institution as corpus donation. You cannot give any direction as a corpus donation. It is only a normal donation we have to give from one's organization to other organization. One more nuisance brought in the Finance Bill 2023 that is now restricted to only 85%. Suppose if I want to give 1 crore of rupees to your institution, I cannot claim 1 crore as my application. My claim is only limited to 85 lakhs. But your income is 1 crore. You have to again apply 85% application, whereas mine is restricted to 85%. Discouraging contributions from one organization to other organization. Appears to be so simple, these provisions, but it is not at all easy to handle. So these are the loan funds, corpus donations, etc. Now coming to another provision, that is section 11, subsection 2, accumulation of income. By whatever reason, if you cannot spend 85% of the income within the year, you have to pay tax on the shortfall. Suppose your income is 1 crore. To claim exemption under 11 subsection 1, you have to spend not less than 85 lakhs. Due to various reasons, by receiving the funds on the last hour of the year, you have spent only 50 lakhs. Balance 35 lakhs is the shortfall, on which the institution has to pay tax, because you have not fulfilled the conditions under section 11.1. But there is a remedy given in section 11 subsection 2. The remedy is you can accumulate the fund for a future use. Not simple. Again, restrictions. You can accumulate the fund for future use, for which you have to pass a resolution in the board. And then this money is to be kept separately as directed under section 11 subsection 5. The money has to be deposited. And again, you have to file a notice to the assessing officer in form number 10. This form number 10 is to be filed within the time under 139 subsection 1. If it is delayed, you lose the benefit, accumulation benefit. Happy that accumulation is for you have to utilize the fund. Section 11 subsection 3 comes for the violations. If the money is not utilized for the object for which it is accumulated, tax. If the money is not utilized for any other objective or not the objective for which it is accumulated, tax. Money is withdrawn from the deposit and not utilized for the object, tax. Money withdrawn and given to another institution, again tax. So you have to utilize the accumulated fund your own purpose only, not to distribute to anyone, for which the form needs to be filed, where you have to specify generally our brothers what they use for the objects of the society. Because we write the objective in form number 10. I have seen so many cases our brothers write for the objects of the society. It is not specific. You must specify for which objective you are accumulating the fund. And then you have to deposit the money in modes prescribed under 11 subsection 5. And that also you have to write in form number 10. And this notice is to be electronically uploaded. So the time limit is 139 subsection 1 due date. Happy we are. Now in the Finance Bill 2023, they brought a restriction. It is to be filed 2 months prior to 139.1. That means your audit is to be finalized by September itself. August. By August, you have to finalize the audit. Then only you know what is the amount to be accumulated. Then only you are in a position to submit the form well within the time. Like this, so many restrictions. And the institutions may not come to you before September. They are the sufferers. Even if you go for an appeal, there are chances are very bleak. We may not win the case. Audit report is to be filed at one time. Form is 10 is to be filed at one time. A return is to be filed at one time. 3 different dates. Form 10 is now 2 months prior to audit report. Audit report, when we have to file, earlier it was linked to return of income. When the audit report is not filed along with the return of income, you lose the benefit of exemption. The CP is merciless. They tax the entire gross receipts and they use to send the notices 143(1). And I filed so many appeals. దానిలో చిన్న బాధ కూడా వస్తూ ఉన్నారు. ఇప్పుడు ఎవరన్నా చిన్న అప్పీల్ తీసుకొచ్చి 30 lakhs అప్పీల్ వేయమంటే నాకు ఇబ్బందిగా ఉంది. ఎందుకంటే అన్ని క్రోర్స్ చూశాను ఈ మధ్య. ఈ ట్రస్ట్ కేసెస్ లో అన్ని క్రోర్స్. ఈ 30 lakhs అంటే చాలా చిన్నదిగా ఏదో వర్క్ చేయాలనిపించట్లేదు. Psychological effect. After all the representations, they have issued a circular under 119(2)(b), giving permission to the commissioners to condone such delays. Again, there are two different delays. If the delay is within 365 days, it is to be filed before the Commissioner of Income Tax Exemptions. If it is beyond 365 days, Commissioner has no power. It is to be filed before the Principal Commissioner. Filed before the Principal Commissioner. And after they grant condonation, then again we have to approach the local officer with 154. At every stage, to move the car, we require petrol. Without petrol, the vehicle can't move. That theory everyone knows. So at every stage, we have to feed the petrol into the car. So this filing of return along with audit report when missed, either technically or by your fault, whatever it is. Some people said, I have filed audit report at 11 o'clock, sir. But when I tried to file my return, the servers are busy. I couldn't file it. I have filed only the next day. It was only around 10 o'clock I filed, and I'm happy that both are filed on the same day. But the technicality that takes that to the next day because the 12th hour was just crossed. And the CPC mercilessly levied the tax. 119(2)(b) has come into play. Similarly, for forum number 10 belated filing, that also 119(2)(b) is now taking care. Everything can be done at a price. Now, instead of this 190, earlier actually, if it is beyond 365 days, the commissioners are not accepting. And then Bombay High Court has given a judgment and given a direction to the CBDT to consider such applications. Then all of us have paid. There are almost 38,000 or 39,000 applications went to the CBDT. The CBDT people generally, they don't work. They only administer. They don't work. They simply brought in another circular under 119(2)(b) and sent back all the applications to the respective commissioners. So if it is beyond 365 days, no need to go to the CBDT. It is only to the principal commissioners. If it is below 365 days, Commissioner of Income Tax, they entertain the application and grant condonation. If you don't go and meet them, they say you have not properly answered and we are not fully satisfied. Therefore, application is rejected herewith. Unfortunate or fortunate, satisfaction is not defined in income tax. That depends your caliber and your skills to satisfy the people. Now, the audit report is delinked with return of income, but it is linked to 44AB. When it is linked to 44AB, as per section 44AB, you must get your accounts audited and obtain a certificate 30 days in advance and file to the income tax department. So 30 days in advance, the trust also to get their accounts audited and file the audit report first. Before audit report, form number 10 first, then audit report, and then comes the return of income. Earlier, when the return of income is filed 1 day delay after 139(1), tax is levied, no exemption under 11. Now in the Finance Bill 2023, a clarification is brought in. There it said either under 139(1) or 139(4). 139(4) is belated return. The belated return, what is the due date? 31st December. So you are given another 3 months time also there. So if the return is filed either under 139(1) or 139(4), you can claim exemption under section 11(1). So that is the new provision brought in the Finance Bill 2023. Now coming to 11(2) again. In section 11(2), the time limit given to spend the money is 5 years. Earlier, section 11, subsection 3, clause C. It can be again claimed, it can be spent in the immediate previous year. That means you are getting total 6 years. Now that C is removed, only within 5 years, there is no grace period. Within 3 years, we have to spend the money. If not, pay tax. How much? How much tax? It is to be treated as normal income, that is called deemed income, and pay tax. But now it is also touched. The deeming incomes are to be taxed at a different rate. That is 115 BBI. A new section is brought in. That is at maximum marginal rate, 30%. 115 BBI. Earlier we have a circular, master circular in 1972. Their clause number 47 says what is the tax to be levied in such cases. There is no specific provision in the law. To control the ambiguity, now a new section is brought in, 115 BBI. As per that section, if the money is not spent within the time, and we have to pay tax at 30% maximum marginal rate. That is applicable from 23-24 assessment year onwards. ప్రతి చోట చిన్న కిటికీ తెరిచి ఉంటుంది. మనం ఇటు చూసరికి అది కూడా మూసేస్తున్నారు. లోపల బ్రీత్లెస్. అట్లా అయిపోయిన ట్రస్ట్ కేసెస్. Government intention is to discourage charitable institution in the guise of charity. They are doing nonsense in the society. Those institutions which are genuine institutions work properly. Other institutions they have to shut down. Too many properties, they acquire properties in the long back, 1 lakh rupees. Now if they sell it to 1 crore, the SRO value is only 40 lakhs. They register only at 40 lakhs, balance 6 lakhs, they are distributing among themselves. But now the institution, can they sell the property? Any restrictions? No. Suppose your institution is Vijayawada and one donor has given a land at somewhere border of Telangana. It is not of use to you, but you have to dispose of that money and collect money and utilize here in Vijayawada. So you have to sell the property. So can we sell the property as it is? No, High Court, nothing. If you go through Form 10AC, have you seen Form 10AC? With almost 18 conditions. Have anyone gone through the conditions, sir? 10AC. They have given, taken a copy, filed. There is a clause O. They said the commissioner is to be informed. The wording is very clear. The commissioner is to be informed, but not taking permission from the commissioner. The commissioner is to be informed for any transfer of property.
Commissioner, the charity commissioner,
Exemptions commission. Then I asked the commissioner some 1 month back, sir, what is property? Property means both mobile and immovable, everything is property. If I sell that particular chair which is not useful, again I have to write to the commissioner that I am selling the chair which is not in usable condition. So every day we have to send mails to them. And also I asked them, is there any procedure for it? They said, there is no procedure given to us. You just simply file a mail to us that there ends, because your obligation you are fulfilling. No permission from the commission. No. The column says the commissioner is to be informed. We have informed.
Has to be intimated prayer to the council.
No, it is to be informed for any transfer of the property. That is the wording.
Yeah.
Not before the transfer. So transfer of property either before or after, both are same. Just to inform the commissioner about it. Just to go through the conditions given in 10 AC. If any institution is working against those conditions, this is a specific violation. The commissioner got power to cancel your 12A. That is a specific violation. So you have to carefully read each and every condition given in 10 AC. As far as my knowledge goes, 95% of auditors haven't seen that. No, I said the 5% question I have kept.
You see the registration, if any property is to be transferred, it should be.
No, what they said is right. If the SSC comes to you and sir, I have sold this property, then only you can inform the commissioner. No, my point is 95% of our brothers haven't gone through the conditions. Accept honestly. No, it is clearly said property, not specified immobile or mobile. I asked the commissioner, what is this? He also said, I'm helpless. He asked me to give feedback of the finance bill. I have given the feedback there. I have mentioned this also. Pre-budget memorandum also I have given. But they are not considered. Property means both. Every property is property, mobile, immobile, intangible. But we have to inform. That is mobile, sir. So property loosely spent.
It's a property. Renewal in say
section 11(1) capital A. Section 11(1) capital A, that what I will consider. So now the commissioner is to be informed for any transfer of property. So there also you have to take care. Client mere cheppaledi sir. The paper is only with them, but they don't go through it. So in the audit report also, there are n number of conditions given to, unless and until you be thorough with those conditions, you cannot fill up the audit report. ఇక్కడ నేను చాలా సెమినార్స్ లో చిన్న జోక్ చెప్తుంటా చిట్ట చివరిలో. ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడే చెప్తున్నాను. కొంతమంది మా మిత్రులకు తెలిసే ఉంటుంది జోక్. ముళ్ళపూడి వెంకటరమణ అండ్ సత్యరాజు లక్ష్మీనారాయణ కార్టూన్ బుక్స్ పబ్లిష్ చేశారు. అందులో వన్ ఆఫ్ ద కార్టూన్ అంటే చిన్నది 3x3 సైజ్ బాక్స్ లో ఉంది. మీకు గుర్తుండే ఉంటుంది, పాత రోజుల్లో మనం హోటల్కి వెళ్తే సర్వర్ వచ్చేవాడు, ఇక్కడ చెవులో పెన్సిల్ పెట్టుకొని చిన్న పెన్ను చేతిలో పెట్టుకొని వచ్చేవాడు. ఆ రోజుల్లో ద కార్టూన్. ఇక్కడ వీళ్ళిద్దరు ఫ్రెండ్స్ అంతా అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడి నుంచి వీడు 2 పెసలని అరిచి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఈ జోక్ కి ఇక్కడికి ఏం సంబంధం అంటే, ఇంత డిస్క్రిప్ట్ గా మనం సెమినార్స్ విన్నా ఏం చేసినా అక్కడ కూర్చున్నప్పుడు ఏదో అది ఆడిట్ రిపోర్ట్ రెడీ అయిందా, స్టాఫ్ మీద డిపెండ్ అవుతుంది. ఆడిట్ రిపోర్ట్ రెడీ అయిందా అయినా సరే తోసే డిఎస్సి కూడా అక్కడే ఉంటుంది కదా. కానీ బయట వెరీ వెరీ ప్రాక్టికల్ జోక్ అది, వినటానికి బాగుంటుంది, సరదా, హైలీ ప్రాక్టికల్ జోక్. నేను చాలా సెమినార్స్ లో చెప్పాను, విన్నప్పుడు ఏంటంటే ఎందుకు చెప్పాడు ఇక్కడ, ఈ లింక్ ఏంటని అనుకుంటా. ట్యాక్స్ ఆడిట్ రిపోర్ట్ 48 కాలమ్స్ ఎంతమంది చదువుతున్నారు సార్? ప్రతి సంవత్సరం ట్యాక్స్ ఆడిట్ మీద వచ్చిన సెమినార్ జరుగుతుంది. బయటికి వెళ్ళంగానే వాళ్ళ భోజనం ఏమన్నా ఐటమ్స్. ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ యూ అలోన్, మీ ఆల్సో. బ్యాంక్ ఆడిట్స్. So mistake lies on us also. అంటే హైలీ సెన్సిటివ్ జోక్స్ అంటే దాన్ని మనం యూజ్ చేసుకోవటంలో కూడా అప్రోప్రియేట్ ప్లేస్ లో యూజ్ చేసుకుంటే. సో దట్ ఈస్ 11 subsection 2 circular. The time limit is restricted to only 5 years from 6 years. And what if the money is not utilized, that is the deemed income. Again, 150 BBI coming to picture, and we have to pay 30% tax. Now comes the interested persons. Before coming to the interested persons, specific violations. The commissioner, the issuing authority, has every power to cancel it. The commissioner is the issuing authority who is issuing 12A. Naturally, he should also have the power to cancel it, for which it is not under the whims and fancies of the commissioner. There are specific violations given in the statute. The specific violations are if the institution has spent money other than the objectives for which it is existing, a specific violation. Next, if the money is transferred to another institution which is not registered under 12A, specific violation. If the institution hasn't filed any returns within the time and getting the accounts audited, specific violation. If the case is selected for scrutiny under 143(3), assessment is proceedings are on. If the assessing officer recommends to the commissioner that there are violations in the objectives, and he will recommend the commissioner for cancellation, that provision is brought in the 23 finance bill. It is also a specific violation. If any recommendations come from the accordingly, this 143(3) also modified. And again, 143(3), when the proceedings are pending, he has to wait till the commissioner passes an order. Once he passes an order cancelling our registration, then taking that into consideration, he has to finalize the assessment. So that 143(3) also amended. Specific violation also amended. So we must be, because మొత్తం వాళ్ళ దగ్గర AK-47 ఉండిపోయింది, మనం ఏ చిన్న తప్పు చేసినా నొక్కేస్తాయి. Too many restrictions. Now coming to the basic part, that is application of income, what it is. Application of income is different courts differently pronounced. Application is spending. Some courts say no. Application is earmarking certain fund for a certain project, is also application. Now to a stop to this particular ambiguity, the section is now amended. It says application is spending only. When this problem arises, if you take the engineering colleges, they follow the mercantile system as per the instructions of AFRC. They follow the mercantile system. Under mercantile system, we record the fees as receivable, reimbursements receivable, everything we register. And also the salaries payable, major expenditure in any educational institution, those things we book. But section says application is only on actual payment, but they are not touching about the receipts. So when you follow the mercantile system, the fees receivables also to be considered for 85%. But whereas application, only the amount actually spent. Irrespective of the period, if the outstanding salary is paid in the after 2 years, then after 2 years you claim it as application. But now you cannot. So that is the problem. Therefore, I advise the societies to follow cash system of accounts. But some areas it is not possible, like engineering colleges, etc. The AFRC people demands you follow only the mercantile system. Only there you find the difficulty how to adjust this 85% income. And we do not know whether the government reimburses the income or not. That is another problem we have to face. Actual spending. The provisions అదేనప్పుడు చాలా ఈజీగా సింపుల్ గా ఉంటుంది. Amount applies only on actual payment. So that is a problem to face in future. It is a mixture of mercantile system as well as cash system. For claiming application of income, you have to go only to the cash system. Whereas the income side, mercantile. Now, handling engineering college case is also not so easy. Next is sale of property. Somebody said this institution cannot sell the property. When it cannot sell the property, why there is a section 11(1) capital A in the statute? That means it is permitted. We can sell the property, but register says so many things. You must get permission from so and so, so and so. These people, they do not know the provisions of the law. Even if you take the trust deed, they will alter, amend, modify everything. The trust deed objective clause cannot be modified without the permission of the court. But they do everything. So 11(1)(a), how to claim exemption, the capital gain in case of a charitable organization. When you sell a property, if the entire consideration is utilized in acquisition of another capital asset, then it is exemption. There is no indexation here. Entire money is to be invested in acquisition of another capital asset. Now take a situation. You are selling the property, everything is finalized, and you are selling the property on 28th of March. You got 6 crores of rupees. Can you acquire a property in another 2 days? Then pay tax. Can you? There is no remedy in the law. But board has given a circular keeping the money in a term deposit for a minimum period of 6 months is also acquiring a capital asset. Somebody was telling, for any change of mobile immovable property is to be informed to the commissioner. Here it is also an asset. If you invest the money in acquisition of another capital asset, that is exempted straight away. Less, you have to deposit for a minimum period of 6 months in a bank. But there is a Calcutta High Court judgment. What right the government has to fix 6 months time, even 45 days is also a term deposit. So that is to be allowed. That means for it, officer obeys only the CBDT circular. He won't follow the Calcutta judgment. Therefore, always safe to keep the money in term deposit for a minimum period of 6 months. Enjoy the benefit of capital gain. That is 11(1) capital A. చాలా మంది అప్లై చేస్తుంటారు ప్రాక్టీస్ లో. Yes, minimum period of 6 months. Next comes your forfeiture section. Time is only 10 minutes. Forfeiture section under section 13. Under section 13, there are so many forfeitures provided. If any money is utilized for a particular religious community or caste, you lose the benefit. You don't get 12A. After the commencement of the act, the section says after the commencement of the act. When the act has commenced, 1961 Act. If any institution created prior to that, Reddy Jana Seva Samiti, Brahmana Jana Seva Samiti, which were created in 1940s, still they can do benefit to the particular religious community. They get benefit under section 11. But you cannot create any such trust after 1/4/1962. 61 is the act date, but it has come into force only from 1/4/1962. Any society created after 1/4/1962 cannot have a particular religious community benefits. But there is an exception. If the institution created for the benefit of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, backward community, women, children, not minorities. I clearly said 5 points. So if the institution created for these particular sections of people, that is permitted. Now you cannot have a Vaishya community benefit society after 1/4/1962. Some years back, one auditor has come from Mongolia. అంతకుముందు ఎవరు ఆడిటర్ చూస్తున్నారు, ఆడిట్ చేసి ప్రతిసారి టైప్ కొట్టేసి లోపల ఫైల్లో పెట్టుకొని, సో అంతా నీట్ గా డ్రెస్ వేసుకుని రెడీ అంతా వేసుకొని అద్దంలో చూసుకొని మళ్ళీ ఇంట్లో వెళ్ళి పడుకుంటాం. వాట్ ఇస్ ద యూస్? It must be certified by somebody that you are beautiful. So ikkada audit chestunaru, they are not submitting to any authority. And the auditor has come, sir, we have to go for 12A. That is totally for the benefit of Vaishya community. Then I said, you may not. But fortunately, after going through the bylaws, we found that this institution created just 15 days before the due date. 15 days before 1/4/1962. We have applied and got 12A. Now still they are enjoying the benefit. Next is interested persons, section 13, subsection 3. Interested person is president, vice president, trustee, settlor, their relations, managers, etc. These are all the interested persons. If any benefit is passed on to the interested persons, 13(1)(c) comes into play. Tax is payable. That is violation. But there are certain exceptions given under section 13, subsection 2. Generally, the people come and ask me, sir, I'm a professionally, I'm a lawyer, but I am the trustee in this. And I argued a case for the benefit of the trust, and they have paid me 50,000 rupees fees. Can I take? Yes. Those provisions are given in section 13, subsection 2, certain exceptions. All these exceptions you have to write in the audit report. There is a column. There are some 8 restrictions given, exceptions. All these, unless we read each and every item, we cannot prepare audit report properly. And the monies which are not deposited as under section 11 subsection 5. The tax payable, for which there is no specific percentage. Earlier it is under section 142(2), read with section the master circular of 1972. Now they brought these specific incomes into one particular ambit, that is 115 BVI. There 30% tax is to be paid. And one more major aspect I am unable to cover, there is time law. That is 115 TD, dangerous provision. 115 TD. So just to go through 115 TD, I touch upon only the provision which is brought in the year 2023-24 finance bill. There is an amendment to 115 TD. That is, suppose your institution is registered under 12A. Every 5 years you have to go for renewal. But in one particular year, you have missed the bus. You haven't gone for renewal. Such cases also are not covered or are now covered under 115 TD. So if you don't go for renewal, then 115 TD comes into play. And also another dangerous provision is, earlier the institution is to pay tax. Now the members also, the office bearers, personally they have to pay tax. So that is 115 TD. If 12A is cancelled, the tax is to be paid within 18 days. Within 18 days, tax is to be paid. If it is converted into non-business and non-charitable entity, then the tax is payable within a year. And when the institution is under resolution, the assets are not transferred to another institution of the similar objectives. They are also 31 month time. But only in case of cancellation of 12A, within 18 days tax is to be paid. Thereafter, interest will mount. So 115 TD cover challenge, audit report cover challenge, it takes another 3 years. అన్ని చెప్పిన తర్వాత మీరు మామూలుగా నడవరు బయట. సో హైలీ డేంజరస్ ప్రొవిజన్స్ అంటే మీకు ఏదైనా ఇష్యూస్ ఉంటే 5 minutes time.
Supreme Court decision society. Is it equally applicable to the institutions covered section 5?
No, there it is said the institution existing solely for educational purposes and not for the purpose of profit covered under 1023C. Therefore, 12A is here. And there is another issue. I have not so far touched religion. Religion. It's a very big subject, religion again.
Whether we can create trust having both the objects, religious as well as charitable.
No, sir.
But I have been, but
No. You can get everything. The problem is, once religion and charity are both mixed, the problem is handling anonymous donations. Anonymous donations 115 BBC applicable only to charitable institution, not to religious institutions. There is a big compound. One engineering college is running. బయట గేట్ దగ్గర ఒక చిన్న గుడి కట్ట, వినాయకుడి గుడి. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇంజనీరింగ్ కాలేజీకి డొనేషన్ అక్కర్లేదు. ఇఫ్ సంబడి సీక్స్ ఎ సీట్ ఇన్ ద కాలేజ్, అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి టెంపుల్ హుండీలో మనీ వేసి వస్తే నీకు ఇక్కడ సీట్ ఇస్తాం. దట్ ఈస్ అనానిమస్, నాట్ ట్యాక్సబుల్ బికాస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ రిలీజియస్. ఇక్కడ ఇస్తే వీళ్ళు రికార్డ్ చేయలేదు కాబట్టి అనానిమస్. ఇలాంటి ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ వస్తాయని మిక్స్ చేయొద్దంటారు. ATG is something different, sir. ATG is not for religious institutions. కానీ ఇక్కడ ఒక పెద్ద ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ కేసు చెప్తాను మీకు. 80G is only for the charitable organizations. But what is religion and what is charity? Unfortunately, nowhere defined in the income tax. It is not defined. Charity is not defined. Charitable purpose is defined. Religion is not defined. But what is religion? Interesting case is Nagpur Tribunal, that is Shiva Mandir Trust. They have, it's a Shiva Mandir Trust, they are doing all the Hindu religious rituals and all. They have applied for 80G recognition. Commissioner rightly rejected the application. Yours is a religious institution, not eligible for recognition under 80G. Then they went to the tribunal. Nagpur Tribunal has given a judgment stating Hinduism is not a religion. It is only a way of living. They have quoted Swami Vivekananda, etc., etc. They have given some 11 pages order. There they said Hinduism is not a religion. It is only way of life. Therefore, the institution is eligible for recognition of ITG. Safe. One side of the coin which succeeded, but other side of the coin. When the institution is succeeded in getting ITG, when they have a hundi, all collections in hundi are anonymous, taxable, because you are recognizing it as a non-religious institution. Take the case of Sai Baba, Sai Mandirs, Hyderabad. One endowment commissioner has issued a notice to the Sai Mandir to take it under their administration. Then they went to the court. The Sai Sansthan people has come from Delhi. They have argued. The first case decided in 1973 in Madras High Court, and then in 1974 Andhra Pradesh High Court. There they said in Andhra Pradesh High Court, I think it is around 34 pages. They have narrated the total history of Sai. And finally, they said, Sai is only a religious guru, he is not a god. When he is only a religious guru, endowment has no role to play here. Happy. So therefore, no endowment department takes any Sai Mandirs. Happy. But there is hundi. In almost every Sai Mandir, there is hundi. All hundi collections are anonymous donations, taxable. The officer in Kadaring Jela. ఎవడో ఒక రాడికల్ వస్తాడు.
Two questions, sir. One is for filing of permanent issues, temporary issues.
ఇప్పుడు దానికి కూడా చిన్న అమెండ్మెంట్ వచ్చింది. అమెండ్మెంట్ ఏమంటే ఇంతకు ముందర దేర్ ఆర్ టూ డిఫరెంట్ అప్లికేషన్స్. One is for provisional registration. As and when you apply for the first time, then you will be granted provisional registration. If you have started activities, within 6 months, you have to go for regular registration. If no activities commenced, you can use it till 3 years. But what is activity? Not defined. What is activity? A table purchased, a computer purchased, and one fellow is appointed. It is also a starting of activity.
That definition I'm asking. The 500 rupees spent only. Activity.
The department may say, because you have already spent, you have started, you have commenced the activity.
What is we file the form results.
Now,
There is better no
ఇప్పుడు కొత్తగా ఏం చేశారు, 23 ఫైనాన్స్ బిల్ ఏం చేశారంటే ఈ డ్రామా అంతా లేకుండా, if yours is an existing institution, you go directly to regular registration, skipping this provisional registration that is coming into force from 24-25 assessment year.
Same formula, some difference same formula.
Provision, same format. Applying for provisional registration, waiting for 6 months, ఇవన్నీ లేదు.
Same formula. Meaning of 5 years after sir.
అంటే కొన్ని ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్ ఆల్రెడీ కమెన్స్ అయి ఉంటాయి. వాళ్ళు 2,50,000 తో చేస్తుంటారు. Now they want to go for a bigger one. Now it is an existing institution. Now they have to go for regular registration straight away, skipping provisional registration.
Same form. But same formula will use some formula there. So the 272 year old is
మీరు ఐడెంటిఫై చేయగలిగితే దిస్ ఇస్ రిలీజియస్ ఇన్కమ్, దిస్ ఇస్ చారిటబుల్ ఇన్కమ్, సేఫ్ చేసుకోవటం సేఫ్. మేము జనరల్ గా టెంపుల్స్ ఏం చేస్తామంటే ఎండోమెంట్ మేనేజర్ టెంపుల్ 1 ట్రస్ట్, అన్నదానం 1 ట్రస్ట్. అన్నదానం we apply for 80G. 80G చాలా రెస్ట్రిక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయండి. 80G కి చాలా రెస్ట్రిక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. టైం ఏమో చాలా తక్కువ.
ఈ రీపేమెంట్ ఆఫ్ లోన్స్ can be out of repayment of loans can be out of fresh loans. టైం అవుతుంది కదా, 4 years మళ్ళీ కొత్త లోన్స్
చేయండి. ఇదే చెప్పింది మధ్యలో చెప్పాను క్రిమినల్ రైట్స్ అని. మనం ఇవే ఆలోచిస్తాము టు సేవ్ ద క్లయింట్.
With both the religious charitable activities, they should registration simultaneously under 80 years. Recent, very recent in our. And for your knowledge, I can share I have a temple.
కమిషనర్ గ్రాంట్ చేశారు.
Right from Chandrapur.
చెప్పారు పాత రోజుల్లో అన్ని ఇచ్చారు సార్, ఇంకా రాలేదండి. వన్స్ ఇన్ 5 years గో ఫర్ రెన్యూవల్కి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఇష్యూస్ అన్ని వస్తాయి. అండ్ వన్ మోర్ నిక్సన్స్ పాయింట్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ 80G. Wait, last point, cover it close. One more point of 80G is if you give a receipt to the donor, that is not enough. He cannot claim deduction in his return of income. We have to file an application. We have to file form number 10BD before 31st of May. And then very next, within 24 hours, you get form 10BE. Download it and then only send to them.
One more important aspect regarding this purpose donation. They are very specific letter from the donors. Not like earlier, simply writing in
Then what is
specific that it is purpose donation. It is not enough. In one hearing, I have to submit all the letters from all the donors.
That depends on the officer who is sitting there.
So,
మీరే చెప్పారు అన్నిటికీ 80G ఇచ్చారట.
అది ఇది
Thank you very much.
270 years late filing of return, 500 rupees per day only, sir.
అది ఉంది, పెనాల్టీ ఉంది.
Cash income is nil, but 500 rupees how they charge? See, trust to the cash income is nil. Then how 500 rupees?
You write it.
Normal it is fine.
These are the policy matters. You have to report to the board.
Okay.